This is the necklace that we're going to make. And this is the necklace made with 6mm bicone crystals. And here's another version made with a longer V. And here's another version. So let's talk about the materials that we're going to need. For this necklace, you're going to need 6mm round beads. You could also use crystals, bicone crystals or round crystals, as long as they are 6mm. You're going to need about 15 to 23 of them, depending on how long you want the V in the center. I want a small V, so I've got 15 of them here. You're also going to need super duos, as well as 11/0 seed beads. They can be check or toho. Really any kind of 11/0 seed bead will work. And you're also going to need jump rings and a clasp. And the 6 or 8 seed beads are to connect the clasp with the jump rings. So let's get started. I'm using a size 10 beading needle with 6-pound fire line, and I'm going to start by putting on a super duo, an 11/0 seed bead, a 6 or 8 seed bead, and an 11/0 seed bead, and I'll string that on. Then I'll go back through all of those beads to form a loop. And here's where I can tie a knot. From here, I want to go back up through the super duo, same hole. Next, I add 2 11/0 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes of the super duo. And I want to go down through the other hole of the previous super duo. I'll add 1 seed bead and then go back up through both super duos. Again, I add 2 11/0 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes, and I go through the other hole of the previous super duo. I add a seed bead and I go back up through both super duos. Kind of pulling tight as you go along. Again, I add 2 11/0 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes, and I go down through the other hole of the previous super duo. I add 1 seed bead and I go back up through both super duos. Let's repeat those 2 steps one more time. Add 2 11/0 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes. Go down through the tip of the previous super duo. Add a seed bead and go back up through both super duos. Pulling tight. So we want to repeat those 2 steps until we have half of the length of the necklace. I want my necklace 18 inches, so I am going to repeat this step till I have about 9 inches of chain here. And then I'll show you how to turn the corner to make the V to start the other side of the necklace. Okay, I've finished about 9 inches of the chain, and so now I'm ready to make my first V. So I'm going to put on 1 seed bead and a super duo, checking both holes, and I'll string that on. Then I want to go through the other hole of the super duo I just added, add another super duo, checking both holes, and I want to go through the bottom hole that's connected to the chain. Then I add a seed bead, and I want to go through 2 of the super duos. Then I want to go through the tip, then I'll add 6mm bead and a seed bead, string that on, then I want to go back up through the 6mm bead only, pull that tight. Then I want to go back through the tip of the super duo in the same direction as before. Then I'll add a seed bead, and I'm sort of covering up this this thread here by going back down through the 6mm bead, through the seed bead at the tip, and back up. So I'll go through the 6mm bead, through the tip, and back up through the 6mm bead. Then I'll add a seed bead, and I'll go up through that tip again in the same direction. And that should put the 6mm bead hanging off the tip evenly off of that super duo. Then I want to go back up through these last 2 super duos, add a seed bead, and I want to go through just the 1 super duo on this side. And then I want to go through the other hole of that super duo. So I'm ready to start making the other side, but I have run out of thread, so I'm going to continue the thread and show you how to do that. This is a new thread that I have the needle on the other side now, and I'm going to go ahead and just tie a square knot with these 2 ends. Then I want to take a lighter. I have a torch lighter, but it can be any lighter. And I touch this end and I touch that end. And I can see that I've made a couple, I can feel it, that I've made a couple little balls on the ends. Once I've done that, I can pull it tight. And now I have a knot that can go through my smaller beads. So now we're ready to continue the other side of the necklace. And the pattern's a little bit different because it's reversed. So it's a 3-step pattern. We're going to start by adding a super duo and a seed bead, checking both holes. And we'll string that on. After I've strung on the super duo and seed bead, I'm going to go back up through to the 2 super duos, only the super duos. Then we add 2 seed beads and go down through the tip. Let's repeat those 3 steps a few times. Add a super duo and a seed bead, string it on. Go back up both super duos through the same hole you're coming out of. Pulling tight as you go along. And add the 2 seed beads going down through the tip. Let's do that again. Add a super duo, checking both holes, and a seed bead. String that on. Go back up through both super duos in the same hole. Add 2 seed beads and go down through the tip. So repeat that one more time. Add a super duo and seed bead. String that on. Go back up through both super duos, only the super duos. Pull tight, add 2 seed beads, and go down through the tip. So you want to repeat those 3 steps over and over until you have this side of the necklace the same length as this side, which for me is 9 inches. So after I've made 9 more, made this 9 inches, I'll show you how to end that side and then start the second row. Okay, I've finished the other side up to 9 inches, so it's the same length as the other side. And I'm going to end this side here. So I'm going to flip it over and add a seed bead, 11-0, 6 or 8 seed bead and 11-0. And I'm going to string that on. Then I'm going to go back up through that last super duo and those 3 seed beads I just put on to form a loop. I'm going to go through the super duo one more time. And here's where I can tie a knot. I'm going to put my needle through underneath the thread here. Then I'm going to go through the loop once and twice. And pull tight. All right, now I can snip both ends and then I'll show you how to start the second row. Okay, I finished the first row of the necklace and now I'm going to start the second row as a separate piece. I'm going to start with a super duo and 3 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to string that on. I'm going to go back up through the super duo and the 3 seed beads to form a loop. And here's where I can tie a knot. Now I'm going to go back up through the super duo again and the next seed bead. Here's where I'm going to start attaching it to the first row. I'm going to add a 6 millimeter bead, and I started with 15 of these. I used one here and I have 14 left, and that's a good way to remember how many to count up. So I have 14 left, including this one. So I'm going to count 14 up from this first seed bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that 14th seed bead is the one I want to go through. Then I want to go back down through the 6 millimeter bead. I want to make sure the seed beads are pointing this way. So if it's flipped around like this, you want to flip it around so that the seed beads are facing this way. And you want to go back through all 3 of these seed beads. So 1, 2, 3. Next, I want to add 2 seed beads and go up through the other hole of the super duo. So the steps we're going to repeat now are going to be similar to what we did on the second side of the first row. Going to add a super duo and a seed bead. We'll string that on. We want to go back through both super duos. Pulling that tight. Add 2 seed beads and go up through the tip. Next, we add a super duo seed bead and a 6 millimeter bead. And we want to skip the next seed bead and then go through the next one on the first row. Want to go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and both super duos. Then I want to add 2 seed beads and go up through the tip. Then I'll put on a super duo and a seed bead, string that on. And back down through both super duos. Then add 2 seed beads and go up through the tip. Then we add on a super duo, checking both holes, a seed bead and a 6mm bead. And we want to skip the next seed bead that's along the first row and go in through the next one. Then we want to go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and both super duos. Pull that tight. Add 2 seed beads and go through up through the tip of this super duo. We add a super duo and a seed bead. And back down through both super duos. Add 2 seed beads and go through the tip of the super duo. So we'll just keep repeating those steps until we have put on 7 of these, or half of what's left of these 6mm beads. And then I'll show you how to turn the corner and start the other side. Okay, I've completed all 7 6mm beads on this side, and so now I'm going to turn the corner, make the V, and then start on the other side. So I'm going to start by adding a super duo and a seed bead, string that on, want to go back down through both superduos. Pull that tight. Add 2 seed beads and go through the tip. And I want to repeat that 3 more times so that I have 4 of these seed beads on the inside after this last 6mm bead. So I've got 1 there. I continue by adding a superduo and seed bead, stringing that on, and going back through both superduos, same hole. Add 2 seed beads, go up through the tip, again, superduo, seed bead, string that on, back through both superduos, the same hole, add 2 seed beads, go through the tip. I've got 3 of these, I need 1 more. Add a superduo and seed bead, string that on, go back through both superduos, add 2 seed beads, and go through the tip. Here's where we're going to start our corner. We're going to add 2 superduos, checking both holes, and 2 seed beads, and string that on. Then we're going to go through the tip of the first superduo I added, pull that tight, add 3 seed beads, go through the tip again, same direction, turn this back around here, kind of flipped it a little bit. We want to add 2 seed beads, and we want to go through all 3 superduos at the bottom here. Flip this back around. I add 2 seed beads in a superduo, checking both holes, and I want to go through the tip of the superduo on this side. Then I want to go through this seed bead that's already here, and back through both superduos on this side, same hole. Now this next side is going to be similar to our first row on the first side. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes. Go through the tip. Add 1 seed bead and go back through both super duos. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo and go through the tip. Add a seed bead and go back through the same hole, both super duos. Pull that tight. Again, add 2 seed beads and a super duo. Go through the tip. Add 1 seed bead and go back through both super duos. So now that we have 3 of these, 4 if you count the one at the V, but 1, 2, 3, 4, we are ready to start adding the 6mm beads on this side. First, I'll add 2 seed beads and a super duo and go through the tip. Then I'll add a seed bead and a 6mm bead. And I want to skip this first seed bead that's right on top of this center 6mm bead. Skip this one and go through the next one. Then I want to go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and both super duos. I'll get ready for the next one by adding 2 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes and going up through the tip. Add a seed bead and go back down through both super duos. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes. Go up through the tip. Add a seed bead and a 6mm bead. We want to skip the next seed bead along this edge and go through the next one. Go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and both super duos. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes. Go up through the tip. Add a seed bead, go back down both super duos. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo, checking both holes, and go up through the tip. Add a seed bead and a 6mm bead. We want to skip the next seed bead and go through the next one. Go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and both super duos. We want to continue this until we've put all of the rest of the 6mm beads on. Okay, I'm about to put my last 6mm bead on. Just before I do that, I don't put on the extra super duo after the 2 seed beads. I only put on the 2 seed beads for this last one, and I go through the tip. Then I add seed bead and my last 6mm bead. I skip this next seed bead and go through the next one. Then I go back down through the 6mm bead, the seed bead, and the 1 super duo. Then I add 2 seed beads and go down through the super duo. I'll go back through those 2 seed beads and again through the super duo. Here's where I can tie a knot. Put my needle under the thread, through the loop once, through the loop twice, and pull. What's good about this necklace is that the V is a little bit flexible, so you can make this different lengths, and the V hangs right. So all we need to do now is just snip both ends here and add the clasp. I've snipped both ends of the second row, and now I'm ready to add the clasp. These are both the ends of my necklace here, and I'm just going to open up my jump ring, feed it through the large seed bead, add the clasp, and close it. The other side just needs a jump ring. So open it, feed it through the large seed bead, and close it. And that gives us a working clasp. And this is our finished necklace.